Excited to have my next guest back on the show. It's Kurt Holobaugh, who will be fighting this Saturday at UFC 292 when he takes on Austin Hubbard for the TUF 31 lightweight finale championship. Kurt, I know you're in Boston right now. I can't wait for this fight. You and Austin seem like destined for this title fight here. How you feeling, man? How has Boston been treating you so far?
I feel great. Boston's great. We've been walking around a lot, just getting out the hotel and scoping out my food places that I want to eat whenever I make weight and can go eat again.
Where's that going to be? What's the leader in the clubhouse right now?
Man, I don't know the name of it, but I got my coaches. They've been looking at a little Italian place or a pasta place. That's always my go-to after I make weight. Man, I love some pasta. So it's supposed to have some pretty good pasta, and maybe we go check it out.
Very good. I'm a chicken parm guy. Is that kind of maybe where your head's at?
Yeah, man, I like chicken parm. I think they have a carbonara or something over there that they keep talking about. So definitely get some chicken parm or some white sauce. Either one I'll be good with, man. I'm just ready to eat.
Yeah, no doubt. I know weigh-in day is tomorrow, so I won't keep you talking about food too much here. Let's transition to just the experience in the TUF house. I love the season. A lot of great fights. Obviously, Team Chandler just dominated the show. How did you like the TUF house? What was your overall takeaway from just this whole experience?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Really a good experience, great experience. Of course, it's always going to be tough when you have to leave family for a long period of time. But other than not being able to talk to family and stuff like that, man, it was probably one of the best things I've ever done. One of the best experiences I've ever had. And everybody keeps asking, and the way I like to explain it to them is, it's like a fighter's paradise, right? You get to go there, you have no worries, you have no bills to pay at the time, you know, everything's bought for you. You just fill your list out of what you want to eat or what you need, and they get it for you. You get to train 2 times a day, best coaches in the world, best facilities in the world, best equipment in the world, and you get shuttled to and from training all you want. So, man, it was great.
Yeah, the coaching from the Team Chandler staff just really looked amazing from the outside looking in. Is this are these relationships going to last moving forward? Do you think you'll still continue to get some work in with the coaching staff for Michael Chandler and the guys he brought in?
Absolutely, I think this is lifelong relationships that I think we made inside the house, even with all the fighters and all the guys in the house. You never really know how all that is, because a lot of times I don't know a lot of the guys, previous guys on the Ultimate Fighter, so I don't know if guys still like stay in touch or anything like that. But I stay in touch with the coaches, talk to the coaches all the time. Same thing with all the guys in the house, even guys on Team McGregor. We all talk, we all chat here and there. So I definitely see myself getting some future work in with most of the guys and coaches as well.
Were you hoping to be on Team Chandler when you got there? Like, what was your thought process versus Michael Chandler or Conor McGregor as your coach?
I was definitely hoping to be on Team Chandler, because you've kind of seen Connor on the Ultimate Fighter show before. You kind of see how involved he really is. He shows up to fight night with his suit on, and doesn't even really coach or corner the guys. So I kind of figured from that standpoint that I would much rather Michael Chandler, because I think he had a lot more to offer me skill wise. So, and then, all the coaches that he had brought in, man, really made it that much better.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When you first got there, Kurt, and you were looking at the 55ers that were there, was there someone that kind of stood out to you that you kind of had your eyes on, thinking, okay, I get a win here, win my second one. This is someone who I very well might be facing in the finale.
For sure. It was definitely, I already knew, man, when I started seeing some of the guys, and I started like looking them up, I already knew half of them, right? I knew Jason was there. I knew Roosevelt Roberts were there. And then I seen Austin Hubbard. There was a few more guys that didn't actually make it on the show, but out of those three right there, I'm like, man, if this is the veterans team, and at the time, actually, we still didn't know how it was going to work. We didn't know if we was going to actually fight those guys or fight some up and coming guys, which I've already seen some of the up and coming guys there too. But just seeing Jason Rowe and Austin, I knew it could be either one of those guys that I could be seeing.
Yeah, a lot of tough 55ers there on the veteran squad for sure. When did you actually fight Jason? Obviously, they pre-taped the show and then aired it later. When was that fight? When did it actually happen?
Yeah, so that fight actually happened on like the second to last day in the house back in, I want to say it was later March. I
Okay.
don't exactly, but right before we came home, it was literally the semifinals. We fought, we came home, our bags were already packed. We did our interviews, and they took us to the hotel to fly out the next morning.
How difficult is it to keep the results secret? Because everyone that knows you and cares about you is asking you what happened. Give me some intel. How hard is that?
Well, I think it's more difficult being that I was going to the finals. So I had a lot to keep in, and it was pretty difficult. But my most of my teammates, that I was training with, I had to tell, of course, my family. All of my family knew. They knew not to say anything or ruin it for anybody, especially me. Didn't want to get in trouble, but it's kind of hard because you got people saying it, and everybody believes in you. Everybody feels like they already know that, oh man, Kurt went there, Kurt won. They believe in you more than yourself. But reality is, as bad as I wanted to tell them, it's kind of like, yeah, man, you're gonna have to watch the show. I think I did well, but you got to watch the show and find out.
Man, you had a couple of tough fights. Let's first start with the one over Lee Hammond. Huge come from behind win, man. I remember watching it. I was at the gym watching it on my iPhone the next morning after it aired, and when you got that submission victory, it was truly amazing, man. Like, did you see something that he was doing where you thought, okay, I might be able to reverse something or get a sub? Or tell me what you're going through in that second round, ultimately before you ended up getting the sub.
Not really. I didn't really see anything, but man, I knew I was after the first round. I knew he was winning, and then the start of the second round, he got back on top of me for a little while, and I can just feel the fight slipping from me because then you start thinking about, man, well, this is only a 2 round fight, so I'm about to lose this fight. So I just knew that I couldn't quit on myself, and I kept hearing Chandler and all the coaches over there kept shouting instructions, and you know I just never quit, and I started to work myself up. I knew he was getting tired, but I'm a good submission guy. I might not be able to wrestle for shit, but I can choke people. So as soon as that opportunity presented itself, I was able to take it, and thank God that it was there, and I got to move on to the semifinals. But a lot of that testament goes to Lee because nobody really knows how good Lee is. And I truly think he was possibly the best 55 prospect in the house. So, of course, he was Connor's number one. And a lot of people might say, well, the only reason he was Connor's number one is because he's Connor's teammate. But I truly case. I think, you know, because and then you say, hey, okay, well, they gave Lee number one because they know they would fight number four. And supposedly they didn't think number four would be me, but I thought he was number one for a reason, man. He was definitely good.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I have to imagine your belief in yourself is already as high as it can be, but did you learn something just about your inner fortitude, your toughness to be able to hang in there and pull something out late in that fight?
For sure, because that's really the first ever come behind victory that I ever had to make or ever done. Um, so just to show myself now, man, look, you've been in this game for a long time. Even when the fight's not going your way, this is a game of inches and anything could happen. You just gotta keep working. Don't stop until the final bell rings.
And obviously the win over Jason Knight. I mean, we all knew that you had a lot of power, Kurt, but I think people were even surprised as to how much power you have because Jason Knight's tough to put away, man. And you stopped him with some big shots. I mean, that had to have been a fight where it just elevated your belief in yourself and what you can do at this stage of your career. Am I wrong?
No, for sure. And fighting somebody with a style like Jason is tailor made for me. That's why I was able to really show my boxing off in that fight because me and Jason, we said, look, man, and we still talk about it till today. We're like, let's go out there and let's just try to give a war. I know you got a good chin, I got a good chin. You don't shoot a takedown unless you're almost out and absolutely have to. I want you to take down unless I'm out and I absolutely have to. So I'm like, okay, deal. And you see, that's exactly the fight it was.
And Dana White just absolutely loved that fight. Best fight of the season. And now here you are back in the UFC. You've already been signed and cut by the UFC twice already. You're going to be 37 years old next month. How much time do you feel like you have left? Are we seeing the best Kurt Holobaugh right now?
I think so, and I have to say I'm at my best right now. Even the previous times I was in the UFC, especially my second stint, man. Um, I just I was fighting some of the best guys out there. It's not like the UFC threw me a bone, and this is what I like to tell people also. You're never going to get a fight that's easy in the UFC, but sometimes you can get a fight that matches up well with your style. And I don't think I really got the fights that really matched up well with my style. All the guys that I fought previously in the UFC were all pretty good, and I just couldn't get it done. But going onto the house, fighting some tough guys, still showing myself and to everybody out there, including the UFC, that I can still beat guys on that level, is always raising confidence.
Do you feel like Austin Hubbard is going to be a more difficult fight stylistically for you than maybe say Jason was or Lee was?
Definitely more than Jason, but I don't think more than Lee. I think him and Lee is going to be kind of the same. Um, Also, but here's to say, we don't know. We don't know what Lee's striking was like, right? Because we barely got to throw any punches. But I want to say their wrestling's going to be similar, but I would like to think that Lee's a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, because he was definitely the biggest guy in the house by far. Definitely made the biggest weight cut. But that being said, Austin is going to have a better gas tank, and I don't see Austin getting tired. So um, I definitely think Austin presents a big challenge for me, but I'm always excited to test myself against guys like that. So we're gonna have to see what happens, man. Hopefully it's my night. Hopefully I implement whatever my game plan better,
Mhm.
and I can get the victory.
Do you think he beat Roosevelt Roberts? That was a pretty close fight. I could see it going either way.
Man, that's such a tough fight to call. I really think you can watch that fight one time and then you can say, okay, I think Roosevelt won it. You can watch it again and you can say, oh man, I think Austin won it. Then you watch it again and you might be like, no, well, actually, I think Roosevelt. My personal opinion, I think Roosevelt won the fight. I thought it came down to the first round. Second and third round was pretty clear cut, I think. Austin gets the second, Roe gets the third. So going back to the first round, I just think Roosevelt landed more on the feet. Austin pushed the pressure a little more, but it's one of those fights where you can't be mad either way.
Do you think Austin's just going to be trying to get you to the ground nonstop in this fight, or do you think he's going to want to stand and trade with you?
Trade, no. But Stan, I do think he'll stay keep it on the feet for a little while. He's not the type of guy that just comes straight out and shoots a takedown. But I do think he will wrestle, which is going to make me wrestle. And I've been working really hard. Even if I can't stop his wrestling or his takedowns, then I got to be able to do something good off the bottom or get back up, and that's my plan. Um, so we'll see. But I think we're gonna stand a lot more than what I did in my fight with Lee.
You're actually the underdog in this fight. I was a little surprised. I thought worst case scenario this would be a pick 'em. Last time I checked, plus 150. You were the dog, and Austin was minus 175. Do you feel that's accurate, or do you feel like everything that you've shown throughout your career, what you did in the house, that maybe you deserve to be the favorite here?
Yeah, I'm always underdog, so it's not really a surprise to me. But I don't know. I feel like this fight's almost a pick 'em fight. I feel like you can say, okay, well, if Kurt wins the fight, then it's going to be by knockout or it's going to be by a finish. If Austin wins the fight, then it's going to be by decision. So I think you can kind of leave it right there and say, man, it's kind of a pick 'em fight. And
When
keep in
you
mind, I've beaten good wrestlers before in decision. I got a good victory over Desmond Green, who was an outstanding wrestler and a super strong guy himself. So I've won fights in this style matchup before, and I know I could do it again.
Now that you're back in the UFC, Kurt, your third stint, do you feel more pressure to go out there and win? I mean, because if you get cut again, I can't imagine they'll bring you back a fourth time. Your time is now. Are you feeling that pressure?
I felt no pressure at all, to be honest with you. And I think that's the biggest thing about being here now. As soon as I walked into this hotel, it's like I felt like I belong. I felt like I'm one of the boys. I see all these other fighters around, and and realistically, I was fighting in the UFC before probably every one of them. So I think that says a lot. That just says I've been around this sport for a long time, and even the UFC. Yeah, I might not have been in the UFC the whole time, but I've been out of the UFC for the last 13 years. So man, I'm a veteran. I'm here. There's no pressure at all. And this is my last stop. Like once my contract is done with the UFC, I'll probably hang it up. I got my kid coming up that's fighting a lot. He's 13, but I mean, I like to work with him a lot. I got a lot of students at my gym that's fighting amateur. I got guys fighting pro that's on the cusp of getting a contender series or an ultimate fighter shot that I work with a lot. So, I'm going to keep growing my gyms and spending time with my family after this contract with the UFC is done. Hopefully it ain't done for a while though, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can stick and get a number beside my name and really solidify myself as a true guy that's fought in the UFC and did well.
That wouldn't surprise me at all, man. If you do win this TUF title here, would that be the biggest accomplishment of your mixed martial arts career?
Absolutely. Even I think just getting to the finals, being on the Ultimate Fighter is the biggest accomplishment that I've had in any previous UFC fight. Right? I mean, I fought at the UFC. Don't remember the number, but in Madison Square Garden, and nobody even knew who I was. They still didn't know who I was until the Ultimate Fighter. Now, after the Ultimate Fighter, it's like, man, that show has done so much, and that's why I can't recommend it enough for all these young and up and coming guys, because my exposure has went through the roof since being on the show. Especially, winning the fights and getting to the finals definitely helped, but definitely, the best thing that's happened in my career.
When you look at the top of the 55 division in the UFC right now, how good do you feel like, Islam is, or Oliveira, Gaethje in comparison to, lightweight greats of the past?
I think they're up there as being better than some of those guys, right? I think we got the most murderous row ever in the UFC right now at lightweight. I mean, you look at the top 5 guys, man, and there's just like they're all superstars, right? So and then you say, hey, well, I've fought guys that's fought Makachev. I've fought guys that have fought Khabib. So I know I'm up there with all those guys, and what better way than make a name and get a shot to fight one of those guys one day than winning this TUF title.
Makachev and Oliveira looks to be tapped for the title fight next. Who wins that rematch?
Oh man, Makachev won it so convincingly the first time. I think he'll take it again. Even though I love Oliveira, I love both the guys. I mean, I'm a fan of both, but yeah, I think I just you can't bet against Makachev right now.
Do you think if and when Gaethje gets that title shot, he can get him out of there?
Look, I'm a huge fan of Gaethje too, and I had Gaethje picked over Khabib when they fought. But let's be honest, I don't think Makachev is Khabib, right? So I think Gaethje has a much better shot. So yeah, man, I might go with Gaethje on that one. I like Gaethje.
All right. And one more pick. If this fight ever happens, people have their doubts, but Michael Chandler, Conor McGregor, how does that fight end?
I'm gonna go with Chandler, man. It's just I know how hard Chandler works, and I know he's gonna be way more hungry than McGregor. That's the thing. I don't think he's gonna get the same McGregor that fought Eddie Alvarez. He ain't getting the same McGregor that's fought Jose Aldo. You know, he's gonna get the McGregor that fought Dustin Poirier the last 2 times, and that's a very, very winnable fight for Michael Chandler. So I'm gonna give Chandler that victory. I think he beats Conor, like he said, maybe the first 2 rounds.
All right. Two more quick picks for you before we transition back to Austin real quick and close this interview out. The 135 finale, obviously same night this Saturday in Boston. Cody Gibson, Brad Katona. What are we going to see in that matchup?
I think you're gonna see a really good fight, man. Cody's good. I know Brad's good too. They're both really, really good, but Cody's definitely a guy very similar to me. He was in the UFC a long time ago, and since then he's fought a lot of top guys. He's fought a lot of title contenders. He's fought, like Dodson, Ray Borg, and he has victories over some of those guys. So I think this is also a pick 'em fight. I mean, Brad showed that he can fight in his last fight with Teamer, because I thought Teamer was an absolute stud. And close fight. Brad gets the win. So I'm gonna go with Cody though, man. I think Cody's good when his back's against the wall like this.
I thought some of the clips I've seen of them bickering back and forth, it was hysterical. I don't know if you've seen, those clips, or if you were there in person to actually see it, but is there going to be a lot of animosity? Like, are these two really going to get after it to try and get a finish in this fight?
On I don't think it's any animosity on Brad's side, but Cody just, and funny story, everybody calls Cody grumpy in the house just because, I mean, he's a little bit older like myself. He's a school teacher, and he was the old man in the house. He's the grumpy. So it's funny everybody picks on him with that. He's got a little animosity towards Brad, but hopefully he doesn't bring that into the ring, right? Because realistically, it's not going to help. Hopefully he just focuses on just going out there and doing his thing, man. I think if he does, he can get that victory over Brad.
Yeah, that's funny because that's the same nickname that my wife has for me. She calls me Grumpy because I go to sleep really early, like 9 o'clock, 9:30, and I'm up at like 5. So yeah, she calls me Grumpy towards the end of the night, but that's okay. I'm getting older too. Lastly, Kurt, the 135 title is on the line. Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley. Who wins that fight and how?
Man, I'm really convinced that Aljo is going to win it pretty easily. I think he takes the back better than anybody in the UFC, and I'm not going to say Sean O'Malley doesn't have any jiu-jitsu or any wrestling or any ground game, but it's just different, man. You see what Aljo's done to some of these other top guys, choking Sanhagen, he out wrestled Henry Cejudo, for Christ's sake. So unless something crazy happens, he gets clipped on the feet, he wins this fight pretty easily, in my opinion. I think he takes the back, he chokes Sugar Sean, and retains the title.
I'm with you on that as well. That's exactly what I think is going to happen in that fight. Again, Austin Hubbard, you said earlier in the interview, Kurt, that you think one of two things is going to happen here. You're either going to finish him on the feet with your boxing skill set, or he could win a decision if this goes the distance, if it goes his way and he fights a good fight. Ultimately, what's your prediction? What are we going to see here come Saturday?
I think that I can damage him, on the feet. I can damage him if he puts me down. And I see myself carrying my same pace from the first round to the third round. So I think I can keep that pace on him, and hopefully get the ref to jump in and stop the fight whenever I start trying to pour it on.
With this being the TUF finale too, I wish that this would be a 5-round fight. Don't you think maybe that's something they could change in the future?
Yeah, definitely. And what's funny is if you go look on like the UFC's website, they have it listed as a title. Don't have the little title symbol beside it, but it says a title fight. So of course it's for the TUF title. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it being a 5-round fight. And honestly, maybe wish it was. That's just more fun that I get to have, because one thing I've been telling myself, and like I said, I don't have any pressure on my shoulders right now, man. I'm here to have fun, win, lose, or draw. I love Austin. I know the type of person he is. If he was to beat me, he deserves it. And I would be happy for him. Not that I would be happy to lose, but, it's just, I feel like I'm a very friendly person, but I'm not going to lose this fight by any means. But so, yeah, I'm just ready to get out there and enjoy fighting for 15 seconds to 15 minutes, and I'm gonna leave it all out there, man. I'm gonna enjoy every moment.
Can't wait to watch, my man. Again, congrats on being in this position. You 1000% deserve it. Happy to see you back in the biggest promotion in the world. Again, this Saturday, August the 19th, UFC 292, Kurt Holobaugh faces Austin Hubbard for the UFC TUF 31 lightweight finale title. Kurt, great talking to you again, man. It's been far too long. It's always a great interview. Before we do officially sign off, I want to give you the floor. Anything you want to plug? Anyone you want to thank? Floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, thanks for bringing me on for the interview, man. It's been a while since we've got the chat, so I appreciate that. Definitely thank you to everybody that's helped me, especially, start off with my coaches on The Ultimate Fighter, and, a lot of my teammates that, we train day in and day out, including Austin, man. Austin's made me a better fighter too. Got to train with him a lot in the house. So thank all those guys. Thank my team is here with me now, bringing my family up, some friends up. You know, I want to thank my family and friends for supporting me and making the trip and wanting to be here in this moment with me. Also got a few sponsors, Hatchet Industries and Covington Power Sports. I appreciate you guys for helping out and, you know, coming on this journey with me.